What comes to your mind when you hear the word Russia? You might imagine some of Russia's famous landmarks or some of its famous foods, or you might have a mental image of Vladimir Putin being shirtless. There are a lot of Western stereotypes that exist about Russia, but for the Russians themselves, one of the biggest stereotypes about Russia is the bad quality of Russian roads. Yes, Russia, and especially provincial Russia, has a reputation for having pretty bad quality roads. In fact, we even have a common saying in Russian: "В России есть две беды – дураки и дороги." And while first-class citizens living in Moscow might disagree and say that Russia has the greatest roads of all time, it seems like in Russian provinces it's not exactly so great. On this channel, I already reacted to some videos in which Russians are losing their mind over the quality of roads in Russia.
Коррупционеры ебаные, блядь! Заебали вы уже своей бездеятельностью, блядь! Ублюдки ебаные, блядь!
And now apparently it's gotten so bad that the construction of roads in Russia is being criticized by literal children.
Так выглядит дорога в обычном Самарском дворе. А так выглядит дорога, ведущая на дачу губернатора.
Yes, guys, and it only gets better.
В таком состоянии находится главная улица Самары. А так выглядит дорога, ведущая на дачу губернатора. Прошло больше полугода, как я выложил вот этот ролик. В таком состоянии находится главная улица Самары. А так выглядит дорога, ведущая на дачу губернатора, который набрал суммарно больше 20 миллионов просмотров. Но машины продолжают разбиваться тут и по сей день.
Bruh. Yeah, this is actually dangerous. Oh man, poor RX-8. That Mazda was not born to die in Samara, dude. I think you guys kinda get it, right? This kid is an absolute legend. This right here on Instagram is the account of Davidos.tv, a young kid from Russia named David, who according to his bio is only 12 years old, and basically this kid right here has been blowing up on Instagram, with a lot of his content getting millions and millions of views. Apparently he's also on TV now or something, we'll check it out, but yes, this kid is essentially getting millions of views. He's calling out the construction quality of Russian roads and also kind of directly almost calling out parts of the Russian government, all at the age of 12. And guys, all I have to say is that this kid might be my new hero.
А мне говорили, что американцы первые были на Луне. Да у нас лунные кратеры в обычном Самарском дворе.
I love how every one of his videos is just like a skit. They're only 5 seconds long, but yet, this visage right here is pretty much all you need to see to understand the message. Guys, I really don't know what is going on in the city of Samara in Russia, okay? Like, this right here is just not normal. I mean, I myself actually come from a provincial city in Russia, Chelyabinsk, which has a reputation for being rough and so on, and yes, we do have our share of bad roads in Chelyabinsk, and in general, during winter and spring when everything is melting, residential neighborhoods turn into a complete mess. In the neighborhood where I grew up, you know, it was actually impossible to walk around on pavements, and all the roads and infrastructure were pretty much in terrible condition. But I guess this is what's going on in Samara. Actual hell on earth.
Я с мамой приехал в обычный Самарский двор на улице Дачной. И я вам сейчас покажу, как люди каждый день заезжают и выезжают из этого двора на своих автомобилях.
Oh boy. What the hell is going on in Samara, man?
Вопрос: кто будет восстанавливать поврежденное днище автомобиля? Я с мамой приехал в обычный...
But yes, unfortunately, this is a pretty common sight in many Russian cities. Russia is notorious for its rampant corruption. This happens on the level of massive construction such as the Russian Olympics in 2014. The amount of money that was stolen during that was insane. And it's actually the exact same with like Russian roads in regular Russian provincial cities. Basically, if there's a budget allocated to the construction of a road in Russia, it is a given that a part of this budget, or actually a big part of it, is probably not going to the road construction, but actually is going into the pocket of some bureaucrats who's just getting rich of these contracts. This is the system of Vladimir Putin's Russia. It's not changed in 20 years, it's the exact same still, and people keep voting for the guy and supporting his every move. Great. The comments on this one did pass the vibe check though. People are saying, this is so that NATO is not gonna be able to drive through this, but at least America is jealous of us. Everybody just make sure to keep in mind the fact that in the West, it's also all really bad. The residents of Samara, don't forget to vote for Vladimir Putin in 2030. When was Samara bombed? I kinda missed out that moment. You know, it is funny, but it's also immensely sad because For some reason, a lot of Russians actually do not understand why the roads look like this. For example, not that long ago on this channel I actually made a video in which I reacted to another content creator in Russia who talks about bad roads in Samara, yes.
Грозненская, ну тут пиздец, блядь. Как после бомбежки, блядь. Это ебок, блядь.
Once again, what in the God's name is going on in Samara? They got like the worst roads in all of Russia, I guess. And this is a city with over 1 million people, by the way. But essentially, yeah, it's a video of this guy who's really funny and hilarious. He's essentially raging and swearing a lot and just screaming at the screen, you know. He just has that primal rage of a regular Russian man who's fed up with life.
Ученическая 30, сука, вода бьет уже 3 месяца! Ублюдки ебаные, блядь!
And the guy's like really charismatic and really funny, and he is pointing out a real problem. But the issue with that content creator was that he makes 100 videos in which he's absolutely just seething, he's furious, he's screaming on the top of his lungs because of how bad the roads in Samara are. And then also at the same time on the exact same account, the guy has videos like supporting the Russian army in Ukraine and being Z, and he's like himself playing dress up essentially with his friends in the forest. He's like wearing a Russian military outfit with the Z and everything. He's actually making songs supporting Russia's conquest of Ukraine and talking about how we're gonna destroy Ukraine or whatever. So and you know, it's just really funny to me how this guy does not see any irony in what he's doing. How he's complaining that his city of Samara in provincial Russia, that is far away from Moscow, is neglected. How the government doesn't care whatsoever about what is going on in Samara. Not enough money is probably being subsidized to Samara for them to rebuild their infrastructure. And at the same time, the guy is being seen and supporting the war in Ukraine, during which Russia is literally spending billions of dollars that could go towards rebuilding the roads of Samara, but you know, they're just wasted on rockets and destroying roads in a different country. And also to this guy, it's not ironic at all that these places, these huge cities with millions of people deep inside Russia are being treated like shit by the governments, and yet, for some reason, we need even more territories and we need more lands to make sure that more people live in ruin, just like us. Great. Very sound logic over there, but unfortunately this is how a lot of Russians think. A lot of the time, they think that the roads being bad in their regions is a problem of the regional governments, and Vladimir Putin is just not aware of it, and he's simply too busy with other, you know, very important tasks. And these people for some reason will just never understand why the roads in Samara are actually so bad, and how all of it goes back to who runs the country.
Вы думали, это Марианская впадина? Нет. Это центральная улица Самары.
What is going on in Samara, dude? Such a little kid and is already a foreign agent. Such a young guy and already an extremist. NATO is jealous. But have you seen what is going on in America, though? Seeing comments like this kind of gives me a little bit of hope in the Russian people, I'm not gonna lie, but even though this kid obviously makes a lot of content that is, you know, kind of pretty daring, I'd say, in the modern Russian political climates and stuff, obviously this guy is like, this 12-year-old is not going to be like an opposition leader or something. I'm not expecting him to, okay? But he's already doing way better in my opinion than that Z road critic that I just talked about, you know what I'm saying? This kid is simply showing the reality of Russia and is just letting people draw their own conclusions.
Как вы думаете, кто попадет на бабки, если я кину вот этот кирпич в сосульки? Коммунальные службы? Владельцы этих автомобилей? Или мой отец? Не, ну а вы как хотели? В Самаре весна, дорогам пи***.
I like this kid, man. He's funny.
Как вы думаете, у маленького ребенка получится выбраться из этого колодца? На первый взгляд кажется, что колодец не глубокий. И сейчас мы замерим его глубину. Так.
This is what growing up in Eastern Europe is like, guys. This is the type of shit we be doing. It's insane.
Палка, которая 2 раза выше меня, ушла под воду полностью. Получается, любой ребенок, попав в этот колодец, может из него не выбраться. Чтобы избежать трагедии, нужно всего лишь установить люк. А пока что мы его закроем тем, что есть.
There you go. And he's also saving. He's saving the people of Samara.
Более-менее.
Because the local government will not do it. This kid is literally doing more for the city of Samara than Vladimir Putin has ever done. And then the governor, like the mayor, has ever done.
Мы со съемочной группы Первого канала приехали на место, где я снял вот этот ролик. Так в Самаре выглядит ремонт дороги. Это отремонтированный участок дороги. Вот это отремонтированный участок дороги. И это тоже отремонтированный участок дороги. Благодаря этому видео здесь начался ремонт дороги.
There you go. And apparently his videos actually causing the local government to actually do something because they're too embarrassed of this. And there's like literally people in the comments saying, can you come to our region of Russia and record a video so that the roads actually will get fixed in our in our region as well. I mean, it's just absolute cinema. But yeah, what's interesting is that if you can notice here, the kid actually has a microphone of the first channel of Russia. This is the main Russian TV channel, kind of the main Russian propaganda channel, right? And yes, this kid went so viral on Russian Instagram, which by the way is an extremist and banned social network in Russia, just wanted to remind you. That makes this whole thing even more surreal, right? But anyway, his viral videos actually got him some attention and he was shown on Russian TV apparently.
Пусть они говорят, а мы будем показывать.
Видела вашего мальчика, но там было написано, что никто не принял никакие меры и дороги не отремонтировали. Результативность есть от ваших выступлений?
Мы со съемочной группы Первого канала приехали на место.
This is how bad Russian TV and Russian propaganda is, right? I watched 3 seconds of this bullshit like Russian talk show. I get that people are supposed to say dumb stuff. Пусть говорят, it's like a dumb show where people argue whatever, but like, this lady is genuinely calling out a 12-year-old Instagram Reels creator for the fact that his work and his content creation doesn't lead to any real results or whatever. Because of course, yes, it is the responsibility of a 12-year-old Instagram Reels creator to repair the roads in Samara. It's not the responsibility of the Russian government. Начни с себя, да? Incredible. Incredible. And what's even funnier is that this kid has actually proven the lady wrong because, yes, his videos actually lead to the Samara government trying to repair the roads. So screw you, lady. Stop being a hater. I support my fellow content creators from Russia, okay? But yeah, apparently this kid even ended up on the news.
Там начали масштабный ремонт дорог, и свой вклад в это внес 11-летний школьник. Он стал настоящей звездой соцсетей, снимая видеоролики об аварийном состоянии городских улиц. Публикации с критикой работы чиновников и коммунальных служб набрали бешеную популярность. О проблеме узнала вся страна. Десятки миллионов просмотров и тысячи комментариев. Тот случай, когда сигнал снизу заставил местные власти отреагировать.
I honestly really don't understand how this is like not embarrassing for Russian propaganda and Russian news to run and show. They're basically admitting that, yes, we have shitty roads, you know, we are not spending your tax money on anything good, we're spending it, you know, billions on rockets. And the only way to get the roads repaired in your city is to be a viral 12-year-old Instagram Reels creator. And that way, инициатива снизу, only that way you can affect something in this country, yes. That clearly means that every single person in this country actually has a voice or whatever. This is just embarrassing, dude. They're just posting their own L's at this point. Like, it's incredible. But shout out to this kid for getting on television, either way.
Звезда соцсетей, гроза коммунальщиков, школьник из Самары прославился своими роликами о разбитых дорогах, с чего началось необычное увлечение подростка и каковы результаты.
Наказать кого-то не хотели, просто, дороги плохие, мы хотели об этом рассказать.
So yeah, what can I say? I love this kid. He's literally like 12 years old, and he's already doing something positive for his city. And he's actually, once again, obviously his parents are probably making this and helping him out. But you know, he is sort of calling out things that need to be called out, and he's showing things that need to be shown. And once again, obviously I do not expect this kid to be like a opposition leader or something, to be actively anti-government and to say the things out loud that I'm saying, for example, right? That the fact that the roads in Russia are crap, the whole reason behind it is because the corruption is not a bug of the system, it's a feature of the system in Putin's Russia, right? And also another huge problem is that most of the country's money is being spent on a war, not on rebuilding the roads in Samara, right? Obviously, this 12-year-old child is not going to mention that in his content. And obviously, it doesn't even necessarily mean that his parents are inherently like anti-government or something. But once again, in my opinion, just due to the fact that he's making these videos, he's bringing these questions up, he's calling out these things, and he's showing the situation on the roads, it is actually creating real conversation out there in the public, in Instagram Reels comments. That's where all the, the most enlightened discussions happen, right? And a lot of the people in these comments are not that scared to say the uncomfortable truth out loud. And the thing is, even though this content is pretty innocent and so on, honestly at this point in Russia there's like a pretty thin line that you cannot cross. And it's getting harder and harder to tell where that line is, so you could make this exact same content and just say a few more thoughts out loud, and that already will put you in a position of possible danger where you might face some repercussions for your free speech. I mean, there is a reason, right, why the main comments on this video are people essentially saying that this guy's gonna go to prison. Reminds me a lot of my YouTube comments, to be honest, but People are saying you're gonna be the youngest foreign agents. My guy, the entire internet is very happy that you are alive, healthy, and you are free. Really great decision to talk about things like this through a child. That way you're not gonna go to jail. You can record this kind of content until you're 14 years old, and after that, whatever happens, you're gonna end up in prison. Have the parents still not been ripped of their right to raise the kids? Yes, it's all really funny and stuff, but unfortunately that is the reality of modern Russia, and it's not normal. I think, to have a country where a 12-year-old child who talks about world quality is getting, comments saying that he's gonna go to prison. But that is the reality of Russia, once again. And it's not normal to live in a country where people who are grown adults are scared of making content like this because they think they will go to prison. And I'm not even saying that they will not. They might. I'm just saying that, look, it's fucking dystopian, basically, what is going on. And all I can say is that I wish this kid all the best, and he's doing something decent.
Как вы думаете, будут ли шансы у маленького ребенка выбраться из вот этого колодца? Как вы видите, полный колодец воды. Сейчас мы попробуем достать до дна.
Walkable cities in Russia be like you guys. This is why just going outside and touching grass does not work in Russia as something that improves your mood. Look at that. Where is the grass, bro? It's all gray.
Палка туда ушла почти полностью. Уровень воды в колодце выше, чем я. Получается, если ребенок даже моего роста попадет в колодец, то вряд ли у него получится выбраться самому. Потому что в колодце даже лестницы нет. А всего лишь, чтобы избежать такой трагедии, нужно установить люк.
Yeah, this is basically like actually a childhood fear of mine too. I remember where very often, back when I was a kid running around on the streets, right, my parents would often tell me to not only look out for open manholes on the street, because yes, this happens all the time. Nothing's changed in 25 years, My parents would even tell me to not step on closed manholes, because those are not even sturdy either. Yeah, I guess the fears of the youth in Russia are still the same. We are all growing up in the hood.
Сегодня на этом месте в Самаре сошел с рельсов трамвай. Из-за того, что железная дорога кривая.
What is going on in Samara, bro? What the fuck is wrong with y'all, dude? Get something right, man. Nothing works in the fucking city. That's crazy. You cannot go anywhere in Samara, man. Driving is bad because the roads suck. Not even public transport is gonna save you. Even the trams are going off rails. Like, this is crazy, man. What is going on, bro? What can I say, man? All of these videos of these destroyed roads and, dirt and slush and stuff like that, and these terrible inner yards of buildings that are just, destroyed. This has all given me a lot of flashbacks back to Russia, back to Chelyabinsk, where I grew up in my neighborhood in the hood of Cheteze. One of the roughest neighborhoods, worse than Compton, right? But I've always kind of realized was not normal or correct or right. The fact that Russian roads and Russian neighborhoods and pavements in a lot of provincial cities are in such dire, terrible condition. And this kid is calling all of it out. And once again, by far the biggest irony of this entire situation is that, once again, Russia is literally one of the richest countries on earth. Has like the most natural resources, gas, oil, whatever. We've got it all. Russia is just so painfully rich and could do so much right to improve the living standards of its people, to improve the quality of life, to build actual decent roads in Samara for once, for God's sake, because I don't know what the hell is going on in that city. But they just don't, because apparently the corrupt system just works too well. Every single government bureaucrat is a corrupt person, and everybody is, connected to each other because everybody knows that everybody else is a criminal also. Nobody can say anything, they all keep the system going. And also our government just has really great imperial ideas of, taking over other countries and teaching other countries how to live. Meanwhile, in our own country, in cities that have over 1 million residents, the roads look like they've never been fixed in 50 years. I understand that for most people it's easy to call out the local government and stuff and never think of the issue deeper, but unfortunately the only conclusion you come to when you think about these issues is that perhaps Russia should try out being led by different people just for a change. Just to try it, right? But, that's something that's not even possible anymore, so my prayers go out to the people of Samara. Hold on, guys, it's gonna get better, I hope. And to those of you who made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching it. If you guys did enjoy it, please make sure to slap the like button on it, subscribe if you're new, check out my other stuff, and if you guys would like to support me additionally, and that is financially, you can go over to the link down in the description, support me on Buy Me a Coffee, or become a YouTube channel member. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.